Okay guys, I am working on a 2004 Radical SR4. This has a Suzuki Gen 1 Hayabusa engine in it. My car is completely stock. I just had the heads redone, and I'm getting a little bit of clutch slippage because I have a little bit more power now. It's not extreme, but I figure it's time to replace the clutch plates, and then also I'm going to install a Carpenter Racing clutch mod to prevent some of the clunking at idle, and also their higher strength springs to give a little bit more pressure on the clutch. So I've already removed all of the bolts surrounding the outside of the clutch housing here. I saw some notes on the Suzuki forums that those bolts might be different lengths, but mine were all exactly the same length. And here some of them are. They're basically a socket cap screw with a flange on it. So I removed all of those. I also removed these three covers, these three bolts on the cover, which I think is more of a decorative cover. Here's what they look like. They're just an Allen head screw with a small plastic spacer or bushing in them. And I had seen references on the Radical forums that you can't remove the clutch housing without removing the engine. So I thought, well, what the heck? I mean, this frame member here is definitely in the way. This one is as well. So what I've done also is I've removed my oil pressure sender from the frame. It normally goes into this spot right there. So I've removed that just to give myself a little bit more clearance. So I'm going to set the camera down here, and I'm going to show you how I wiggled the clutch housing out of that opening, fortunately, without having to remove the engine. So again, I mentioned that I removed all the bolts. Some people in the Hayabusa forums need to knock the clutch cover with a rubber mallet. I didn't have to do that. So here, I'm just pulling it straight out. I'm reaching behind just to get the gasket as well. It looks like that might not come with me. But I'm basically lifting up a little bit, turning it a little bit counterclockwise, and then the bottom left down here by the oil level glass, kind of tilt that out or pull that out, and then basically just tilt the top back, and here you go. That's it. I will also note that even though you tilt, I have the car tilted up, the right side is jacked up. Hayabusa motorcycles, basically, if you lean them over in the kickstand and let it sit for about an hour, all the engine oil drains out of the clutch housing. Definitely not the case here. I opened it up. I forgot to remove the bottom diffuser, and my garage floor can attest to the fact that probably about a quart or two of oil came out. I had the right side jacked up about a foot and a half, maybe 14 to 16 inches. Let's call it that height. It's on jack stand. Definitely, you want to do that. Sorry for the darkness underneath there, but here's what it looks like inside. So let me try putting it back, just to show you what that will look like. I guess I could say that assembly is the opposite of removing it. So I'm going to take this part here, the lower left area with the sight glass, I'm going to tilt that in first, and then the top left goes in. Again, remember, I'm rotated counterclockwise, maybe about 2 or 3 clock positions. So now I'm in, and if I had everything lined up, it would go right back in place. I did not pull off the the gasket this time. You also want to note when you pull this clutch housing off that there are 2 locating pins. Now mine stayed with the housing, but they might stay in the transmission enclosure itself. Here's what it looks like with the gasket being put back on. 2 spacers, 1 there. I guess you would call that probably around 1 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock, and then the other one's about somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock. So let me put that back in again just to show you. So here's the upright orientation. I'm going to turn it a little bit counterclockwise. I'm going to drop the bottom left in first. And then once I have that bottom left in, over the clutch pack, I just clock it back to the proper orientation, slide it over the clutch pack, find the locating pins. I kind of put my finger in the back there. Sorry about that. You guys lost the view there. I find the locating pins in the back, and then the clutch housing will go right back in place. Just to show you, the locating pins are up here around maybe 12:30, and then the other locating pins down the opposite corner, probably around like 6:30 or 7 o'clock. Hope this helps everybody.